Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk's Sunday stream of consciousness. It's great to have every one of you aboard. We welcome everybody watching today on Facebook, where you only may be watching me on my personal page because, once again, Facebook strikes and will not allow me to share it to my own TGI Sports Talk page. It's just freaking ridiculous. I don't understand, and I get pissed, but I'm sorry. But all you watching on Twitter and YouTube, I'm ready to throw Facebook right off the whole platform, quite frankly. We're going to try once again to get this show going live while I'm doing this. So now I'm just going to leave it. Screw it. Let me go in here and I can share it, I guess, this way. Actually, it shows me live now. All right. Well, I'll let it be. Do you guys see me live on TGI Sports Talk? I apologize. Anyway. I'm on a Facebook rant lately. Anyway, where was it? Great open to the show. Welcome all the groups. You see all the groups scrolling at the bottom. You know that we love all the groups that allow us to share. John Gonzalez at Sports Authorities, among them, first among them. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime. Flo and Can over at Flo and Can over at Bottom Line Sports. They do their main podcast on Let's Talk Sports, who's also a good friend of this show. Ken Krause over at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. And, of course, Ralph Williams, we give a quick shout-out to every week at RW Media. Catch Ralph's stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland, specifically the Sports Corner every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. DDH thumbs up. Mac McGrath. We're live on the McGrath Podcast Network, by the way, as well. Every show that we do, including this Sunday morning show. We're back to 2 full hours at least, guys. Probably for the duration. Actually, next Sunday might be an issue. I have my granddaughter's christening next Sunday, so I don't know what we're going to do next Sunday morning. We might have to do an hour show or something. Plus, hopefully, we're playing the AFC Championship game at 3 o'clock. So I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going to happen there. Oh, God, there's so much to talk about. Yesterday's games, obviously, Broncos, Bills, exciting game. Not a well-played game, but exciting game. We can talk about the referee debacles. Listen, again, don't blame injuries. And I'm going to talk more about injuries in a little bit because we got to talk about Bo Nix and, the how this is going to affect the rest of the playoffs. But an exciting game. Buffalo had their chances to win this game, so please save the referees cost me the game because I'm not willing to listen to it. Josh Allen, just too reckless yesterday. Great quarterback. Yesterday, he tried to do too much. And there's a difference between being aggressive and being reckless, and he was reckless. Seattle just rolls. Their defense was tremendous. The run game with Kenneth Walker was tremendous. Well done. We'll talk about the Patriots and Texans today, of course, and the Rams and Bears. We'll talk about the Harbaugh hiring with the Giants. Home run. Don't care if they hit. I don't care if they don't win this year. Home run. Also, I think the Falcons had a home run with Kevin Stefanski, who got hired last night. We can talk about Mike Tomlin's legacy in Pittsburgh and what's next there and any of the coaching openings, if you're interested. We'll talk about the Kyle Tucker signing with the Dodgers. Listen, guys, it's a lot of money. I get it. But you know what I feel? Teams that have the money should be able to spend the money. And if you're not willing to spend money, get out of the game. Do we need a salary cap? Maybe. But we need a salary basement to go along with it. So please, I'm not going to listen to anybody bitch and moan about salaries unless they're willing to tell me teams also need to spend more in certain places in this league as well. And Bo Bichette signs with the Mets. I'll tell you right now, I think the Bo Bichette signing is a better signing than the Kyle Tucker signing for the Mets, quite frankly. And the Yankees are scrambling now without either one of those guys, and Cody Bellinger's still out there. And Clayton Kershaw is going to play in the WBC. I think that's some interesting news. Well, we got Miami and lost in all this. We got the Hurricanes playing for a national championship against the Indiana Hoosiers. This is a big moment in college football history. I'm telling you right now. We'll talk a little bit about that if you like. And we can talk about the college basketball scandal, of course. 26 players charged in shaving points in games from 23 and 24 and 24 and 25. This covers 17 schools. It's not a pretty situation, guys. Anyway, lots to talk about, lots of comments. It's your show. Take it away, guys. What do you got? There's JB. Good morning. How are you? No, I'm here. Sorry, we were having a little trouble getting started on Facebook, so hopefully we're live now. Good morning, JB. How are you? That's me. Good morning, sir. Big day. I'll be sitting at a listen. You'll be sitting at the game tonight. Stay warm. It's going to be cold. The wind chills in the single digits, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow out there as well. So hopefully you guys all stay warm and do well. And go Patriots today, Scott. No doubt about that. AC, good morning. Good morning to Paul Spada, another big Patriots fan. Not going to be easy, by the way. Facebook is listen, I'm so done with Facebook and the nonsense. Social media as a whole has become a joke. And I'm really going to figure out a way, and I said this when I retired, but I just haven't really focused on it like I said I would. I'm going to be focusing more on YouTube. So I'm going to need a lot of you guys to start moving towards the YouTube platform. And if you're not liking and subscribing over there, please go do it. Just look for TGI Sports Talk on YouTube, please, because I'm going to start putting a lot more effort toward there. I put all my efforts for the last 6 years towards Facebook, and all they do is screw me right and left. Anyway. And plus I'd like to get off Facebook all 100%. I'm tired of social media in general. The nonsense out there is ridiculous. AI crap, made up shit. Excuse my French. It's going to be a bad day today. I sound like, thank you, Paul. Finally live. Thank Facebook. Hello, C. Where is CA? Oh, there he is. Good to see you guys. New episode dropped for JB with Ross Grimsley. Really good left-handed pitcher back in his day with the Orioles. JB's team pitched with the Expos, came up with the Reds, I believe. Pretty good pitcher back in the day. Good get. Hello, Ken. Good to have you with us. I mentioned the Bottom Line Sports podcast with Ken and Flo. Catch their next episode. You can certainly drop it in the comments, Ken, and we'll let these guys know what's going on. Shocked to see what happened to Bo Nix. Talk about Super Bowl run hitting a brick wall. Listen, other teams, listen. And I said this, and I know Danny's here. And in our chat yesterday, we had a discussion. I do talk about injuries. And I don't think injuries are an excuse for losing. I don't think calls are an excuse for losing. That doesn't mean injuries don't matter. They do matter. Other teams have overcome injuries. Maybe not at this late stage. Let's remember, the Giants won when Phil Simms got hurt and Scott Brunner took over. The Dolphins won 11 straight games in 1972 with Bob Greasy on the bench when they went undefeated. I believe it was 11 straight. There's been other instances, too, where quarterbacks have come in and had to step in. Part of winning is planning, right? You have to plan, you have to scheme, and you have to figure out a way to win with Jarrett Stidham. I don't think they can. But it's not an excuse to lose. It's a reason that you lose. Okay? Don't use it as an excuse. These guys are there getting paid for a reason. Their job is to step in when somebody gets hurt. If Drake May goes down, Joshua Dobbs is going to need to step up. Hope to God that doesn't happen. You will never hear me blame referees or injuries why I win or I lose. Bills fans, don't blame the referees yesterday. Some iffy calls. Both those interference calls in overtime were interference calls. Sorry. The catch, I don't think it's indisputable that he caught the ball. Why they don't replay it, I have no idea. They do the quick look, and that's all they did. It makes no sense. I don't think they would have overturned that on replay, quite frankly. But listen, the Bills had a chance to get the ball in the end zone with 4 minutes left in the game, and they had to settle for a field goal. They're inside the 10 or at the 10, close to it. You know, if they put the ball in there and get to a 2-point conversion, which I guarantee they would have gone for 2 there, the game's over. But they don't capitalize. If you don't execute, you don't win. Tough day for the Bills yesterday. It was a fun, exciting game, not a well-played game, please. So this will be a big injury. This will be a big stumbling block for the Broncos. But this is why Sean Payton gets all the money. Figure out a scheme to work around the fact that your backup quarterback, who hasn't thrown a ball in a regular season game in three years, is going to do. Pats and Rams today. I am on the Pats and the Bears today, Ken, myself. I'll be betting both those games. The Patriots are, see if I have an email yet. You know, it's funny. Maybe I shouldn't go by my phone anymore about whether I'm live or not, because they were. My phone wasn't showing me live on Facebook, but my Facebook was when I went on to Facebook here, so, or on the computer. Anyway, what are the Patriots today? I'm going to bet the Patriots today. I believe come on, jeez. I had this up a minute ago. Patriots are -3, and the Bears are +3.5. I like the Bears at home getting points tonight as well, and I love the Patriots today. Their defense is really good. Since Milton Williams got back, this defense has stepped it up a notch. And let's not forget, this offense is the number 1 offense in points scored in the league. I'm just saying, this is a good football team. Forget who they played. I don't know. I'm not a big. I think they got beat. I don't think they choked. I think they got beat. You know, Josh Allen had not, and we say again, and let's not put this all on Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had his worst playoff game ever, by the way. I mean, and Josh Allen's 0-6, I think, in overtime in his career. But Josh Allen picked the worst time. Josh Allen had never turned the ball over in a postseason ever. And yesterday was just a bad day for Josh and the Bills overall. I mean, they turned the ball over 5 times, which is another reason. Do not blame the referees, please. You turned the ball over 5 times. There's a stat that they ran down yesterday, and I verified today. In the playoffs, when teams are -3 or worse in turnovers, they're 1-86 now after yesterday's game. You're not going to win. Turn the ball over. They turned the ball over 5 times. The PI call at the end. You think that last call was terrible? He tackled him. Nah, I disagree. Again, you can go back and look at every call, and then pass interference. Again, here's the problem. We don't know what a catch is, and we don't know what pass interference is in this league, and neither do the referees. Pass interference should become a reviewable call, in my mind. To me, the only egregious call, I don't have a problem with any of the calls in overtime. None. The 2 interference calls were interference. Do you think the last play, that was the worst egregious play I've seen as far as pass interference the entire game? He just about tackled him. The other call was also pass interference in my mind. That one maybe you could have let go. But there was also a roughing the passer on that play, so it still would have been a first down, a 15-yard advancement. So not as big a deal. The catch, to me, it's not indisputable that he caught that ball. I don't think it would have got overturned on replay. They should have gone to replay. The most egregious call I saw the whole game, I think, was in the fourth quarter. Don't hold me to that. And it was a non-call in the end zone on Cooks, where the Denver defensive back hooked him in the end zone. Then the ball ends up overthrown because he can't get his left arm up. That's pass interference. Anytime you have your hands on hooking the guy, it's pass interference. The refs didn't bail out Denver. Let's just stop. That narrative is wrong 100%. You don't turn the ball over 5 times. I'm telling you again, I'm going to say this. Buffalo lost that game. The referees didn't bail out Denver. It's that simple. -4 in turnovers. You had a chance with 4 minutes left to end the game with a touchdown. You settle for a field goal. You run the ball into the line on first down every single time in overtime in the fourth quarter. Put your quarterback in a hole. Please stop. Now, so you kind of qualified a little, Lacey, with not screwing Buffalo, but they did bail out Denver. I don't know how the two things are not necessarily mutually exclusive. I like Miami a lot tomorrow. I got a bet. I could theoretically still win. I have a futures bet on the Patriots, which is going to pay nicely, and one on the Hurricanes, which will pay nicely as well. So we're going to play for a little bit of money. While I'll still be here for one more day or one more week after the college championship game, but I'll be on a cruise for the Super Bowl for about the 10th year in a row. Good morning, Rick Sherlock. How are you? Chris F. Grave. Only great with MLB Stars that ballpark revenue helps pay them. The more they make, the more it's capitalism. I don't know what to say. I mean, these clubs are in business to make money. Don't go. If people stop showing up, then they have to stop paying. So, again, I get it. The cost has gotten prohibitive, Chris, but I struggle with salary caps. I struggle with anything that inhibits the teams from making the money they can make, because we live in a capitalistic society, and I'm okay with that. And I'm not looking to limit the market for anybody. I don't like the word revenue sharing ever. I'm not willing to share any of my revenue, and I have to. I'm not willing to share more of it as the Democratic Socialists come into power here. So again, as Chris, just to go back there for a second, I'm kind of torn. I get it. The salaries are astronomical, but I'll never stop saying you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. Whether you earn it, that's a different story. I would not have done this with Kyle Tucker. I think Bo Bichette's a better deal for the Mets than Kyle Tucker is for the Dodgers. Just saying. I mean, his defense has slipped. He's average now. He was really good. I think he was 77th in RBIs in the league last year, if that's right. What I think of the Red Sox move this season, they've had an interesting offseason. I do think they need a little bit more offense. I like what they've done with the pitching staff. I'm not quite sure about the bullpen, and we'll look deeper into this as we get closer to the season. But I think I think relatively speaking in the American League East, I think the Blue Jays and the Red Sox and the Orioles have done a whole lot more than the Yankees have done. And the Yankees are getting left in the dust here in this postseason, and getting Cody Bellinger back. And by the way, Bellinger is the second happiest guy in the world after Tucker signed the other day, because his price tag just went up. Good morning to Bo Crouch out in Seattle, bright and early today after the Seattle game yesterday. I think you were at the game, weren't you, Seattle? I'm sorry, Bo, at the Seahawks game. Congratulations on your Seahawks victory. They look dominant. Right now, the Seahawks look like the best team left in the playoffs. Of course, I'd like the Patriots to get there, and either a Seattle or a Chicago and New England rematch, if you will. They looked tough. The defense was good. Kenneth Walker was tremendous. Sam Darnold did what he was asked to do and managed a game and didn't make mistakes. But I can't judge Sam Darnold off this game. I mean, Bo could have played quarterback and won this game. Don't count out Denver. All they have to listen. Here's the thing: Denver. That's a huge home field advantage. You wear down out there. The Patriots have had a house of horrors out there over the years, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. You know, Tom Brady's had bad, horrible games out there. Jarrett Stidham, has not played a lot. He hasn't thrown a pass in the regular season since 23. Played with the Patriots. But, he's sat and he's absorbed all this offense of Denver's for the last, 20 plus weeks. And we'll see whether he can step in or not. I'd feel much better if this game were at home. I'd feel very comfortable. We're going to Denver, and that defense is really good, too. Yesterday, again, Josh Allen is just a tremendous player. You can't judge. Josh Allen's numbers were good yesterday. Well, you can't always look at numbers, right? They weren't even in that game if it was for Josh Allen. So, and Cook played well, but, the Buffalo offense was too predictable on first down. This is why I say we can't blame the referees. Buffalo blows their own chances to win this game. Having said that, I think the NFL needs the Patriots out of the AFC to make the Super Bowl. I'm not sure I'm following. Having said that, I think the NFL needs the Patriots out of the AFC to make the Super Bowl. You mean ratings-wise? I can't believe they think the Texans or the Broncos would be a better draw than Drake May and the Patriots. I'm not sure exactly. And again, the NFL isn't deciding anything. Let's be clear. And I don't think Scott's saying that. But just in case there's any doubt, there's no scripting going on here. God, I don't think you're saying that, Scott. JB, I did think those calls were close. Yeah, they were, Pete. Again, if you look at holding and pass interference, you could probably call them on every play in the NFL. Can't call them on every play. We'd stop. The games would come to a grinding halt. And I don't think you can just, eat your flag in overtime. Not the NHL. Both were PI grabs. The one I did not understand was the INT at the end of the game where the Bronco defense rolled over the Bills wide receiver. Again, to me, that play could go either way as well. Again, they called it an interception, and I don't think replay would have ever reversed that. But I don't understand why they didn't go to replay. It's too close to have overturned it, I think. Anybody who's telling you that it's obviously a catch, I'm not sure what they were looking at. Did he have the ball at some point? Yes. Did he have it long enough and take it all the way to the ground? I can't tell. But these are subjective things, and I think you need, that needs to go to review. Nick Foles got a statue. Great. Nick Foles is a great example. I forgot about Nick Foles. Took over for injury for Carson Wentz. Great one. How do I forget that? I probably have blacked that one out of my memory. Quite frankly. Oh, here's some fun math. I love math. He said sarcastically. In the NHL, the league minimum is $775,000. If you were a base salary player and you played every game, that's $9,400 a game. Works out to $157 per minute. That's good work if you can get it. But if you're playing that much, you're probably making more than $750,000, right? Robert Butler's with us. They were bad calls, but the Bills had 5 turnovers. That's what I said. I mean, again, both things can be true. I'll even give you there were bad calls. I'll give it to you. To me, again, the most egregious one was, and nobody's even talking about it, is a penalty that wasn't called in the end zone, I think in the fourth quarter. The Denver defensive back, Cooks, didn't let him get his hand up. It would have been a touchdown. But even if I give you that those are pass interference calls, the Bills weren't screwed. And Denver wasn't bailed out. The Bills didn't finish the job. They had chances in overtime. They had chances in the fourth quarter. Again, 4 minutes left. They're driving. They're around the 10-yard line. Can't get the ball in the end zone. They get the ball in the end zone, convert a 2-point conversion. Game's over. Win it. Go win it. Don't sit there and lose and then look for reasons that excuses why you lost. Oops. You have to survive the ground. It popped out like, I agree, Bo. I seem to be in a minority, or we seem to be in a minority today. I mean, earlier today on the Big Football Show, I mean, those guys all seem to be convinced he caught the ball and that it would have been overturned if they went to review. Now, again, I agree with you, Bo, but my biggest problem is, why no review? A play that close, you've got to look at it. You know, and the teams can't throw a flag in overtime. Maybe that rule needs to change. But again, Jack talked about changing the rules of what a catch is, or we don't know what a catch is now. Bo's right. You have to survive the ground. I saw something other people said he survived the ground. So, I don't know. Pats are 3-point favorite. I love the Pats today. It will be a very hard-fought game, but I love the 4 points. I think they win probably by 10, maybe more. This Houston offense is not good, by the way, guys. There's no running game here. Again, comparisons to the Ravens in 2001, I keep hearing with this Texans defense. Really good, by the way. Not just that pass rush, which is downright scary, but the defensive backs are good. Derek Stingley Jr. is one of the best defensive backs in the league. Grandson of Daryl Stingley, by the way. Great wide receiver with the Patriots back in the 70s. Paralyzed, put in a wheelchair by Jack Tatum. Fun story. In college at LSU, Derek Stingley Jr. wore his grandfather's Patriot jersey, number 84, under his LSU jersey every game. Pretty cool story. With that said, this is a scary defense. Their offense is not good. The Patriots defense is no slouch, and they played really, really well since Milton Williams has come back here 3 weeks ago. Milton Williams was a huge factor in that Patriot defense last week against the Chargers, which just beat the crap out of Herbert. Now, Drake May got beat up too, by the way. And again, one of the things that I love about Drake May, and as I say this, please, I'm not comparing Drake May to Tom Brady. Not even a little. But one of the things Tom Brady used to be able to do, and great quarterbacks can do, is play really badly for 3/4 of the game, let's say, and then find a way to beat you in the fourth quarter. And Tom Brady really did that well. He didn't have a lot of bad games, but he had a lot of games where he struggled, and the Patriot offense struggled, and they found a way. Look at the Falcons game. They were terrible for 3.5 quarters. And they found a way to win in the Super Bowl. Drake May found that magic last week. Again, not comparing him to Tom Brady. But good quarterbacks need great quarterbacks. Find a way to get it done, like a pitcher who doesn't have his best stuff and finds a way to go out and get batters out. He's got to be careful today, though. He did still turn the ball over twice last week. It's going to that pocket's gonna collapse. but I think his escapability will help him. Just don't try to do too much. There are times you need to eat the football. Texans and Bears for JB. I'll take the Patriots and Bears. I like the Bears a lot. You know, we talked about Sam Darnold. And again, one of my things with Sam Darnold last night and all of last year, Sam Darnold can be really, really good when you're not asking him to carry you on his back. When you're doing a lot of other things really well. When you ask him to go out and win a football game, I'm not sure he's bringing you back from 3 touchdowns down. Caleb Williams did that and has done it a couple times this year, and he did it in the playoffs last week. Don't count them out. The weather's going to be the weather's influenced you towards the Bears, Frank, I assume is what you're saying. And me too. That's part of why I like them. I think Matthew Stafford is, I don't know, Scott, you probably got the stat out there somewhere. Matthew Stafford outdoors in cold weather is not good. And it's going to be single digits, I believe, in Chicago tonight. And I don't know about the wind. Similar to the Patriot game, again, it's going to be much earlier in the day, but it's still going to be windy. I believe I saw 15 to 30 mile an hour winds, single digit wind chill, and some snow potential. It may not accumulate at all, but there's kind of a line that's very close to where this game will be played. So I kind of agree with that Bears game, Frank, and you might have the number yourself. It's like, 111 or something. I don't know. AC says the problem with saying the Bills didn't win because they didn't execute is that the Broncos didn't execute either. But that's not an argument to me. Denver had multiple chances to close out the game, but couldn't do it until the referees put them in field goal position in overtime to end the game. Neither team executed, and the referees called pass interference on one team and not the other. And that made the difference. Fair. You want to say that? I'll give it to you. Fine. You can have that opinion. I'm never going to have it. I'm never going to use it as a defense for my team ever. You've never heard me use injuries or referees, bad calls. That doesn't mean bad calls don't happen. Doesn't mean they don't affect the game. And if you want to lay it out that in a total vacuum, AC, then yeah, that call influenced the game because they put them in field goal position. Fair. But I'm not just going to ignore the Bills could have ended the game in regulation with 4 minutes left by scoring a touchdown, getting a 2-point conversion, making a 2-score game, and the game is over. And they turned the ball over 5 times. 5 times. Not once. 5 times. 1 in 86 with a -3 or worse turnover ratio. Danny says, I've liked the Rams in the AFC West since week 4. I like the West too, and I think the Seahawks are the best team. And said the Seahawks have it going on all cylinders. Just your opinion. I agree. I think the Seahawks will represent the NFC. After last night's debacle, and listen, the 49ers, again, some people will bring up injuries. They do matter, right? I told Danny yesterday, I've never said injuries don't matter. They do matter. But you have to find a way to get around them. At some point, I guess you can't. They found a way around their injuries last week and beat the Eagles on the road. When you run into a better team who's going to throw up a defensive effort that doesn't allow you to overcome those injuries, well, then you lose. It's a reason. It's not an excuse. Never going to let people excuse away, you didn't overcome the injuries, so that's the reason that you lost. Maybe it's, maybe I'm, it's a matter of the way I'm saying it compared to the way somebody else might say it. But you can't blame injury. Everybody's got injuries. Patriots have had a ton of injuries this year they've had to overcome. But anyway, they just dismantled the 49ers last night. I heard a stat because I unfortunately stayed up and watched this entire game. I heard a stat in the fourth quarter. I don't know who's compiling these numbers, but they had said that they did compile some numbers on Purdy, and that he had run for like 400 yards trying to avoid 49er defenders last night. This was like in the middle of the fourth quarter. He was running for his life the whole night. The bet in the Patriot game, I put bigger money on Houston is total under. Houston team total under 18.5. That's probably a good bet. Patriot defense has been really good. And this Houston offense is not good. Nico Collins is out. Gonzalez is in for the Patriots. That's huge for the Patriot defense and the pass defense specifically, obviously. Houston's going to have trouble moving the football. They don't run the ball well. It was the fourth quarter, right? That's what I thought. Thank you, Danny. And that's the worst call of the game. To me, you can bring up all the pass interferences that got called. And by the way, I'm not sure in what world that's not pass interference. I wish I could find it. Can I find it? Let me find it. Let me see if I can find it quickly for you guys. Let me see if I can find it. I'm on the wrong freaking thing. Hold on. What the hell did I do? Now what did I do? Hold on. Type it in the wrong screen. Hold on. Bills OT interference. I hate it when I have a probably not going to find it. I want to find it quick. Somebody can find me the clip of that pass interference. You can send it to me on Facebook, and I'll put it up. Here, maybe this is it. Hold on. I don't think that's it. Which one is this? That's the wrong one. Yeah, this one is the one I got here is the one before it, which is irrelevant because it was a roughing the quarterback on that play. Anyway, the biggest bet Scott put in today was the Rams and Bears over 7.5 punts in the game. Scott likes his prop bets. I'll stick with the game bet. Patriots, Bears, -3, +3.5. And by the way, I will remind you, I do have a future bet on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl and a future bet on Miami to win it all in college football. The other bet I made was the Patriots first half, -2.5. They're 17-1 in the first half. Good call. Sorry, you and all mistakes Buffalo made. Denver didn't do anything to win. They end up with more points at the end of the game. They need no calls when they're committed PI. Well, again, agreed. I'm not telling you it wasn't a badly officiated game, as badly as it was played. But somebody's got to win the game, and I should give it to the Bills? I mean, your argument doesn't make a lot of sense. Denver turned the ball over once. Bills turned it over 5 times. They gave Denver a short field a lot. I don't think the Bills defense played all that bad yesterday for having given up 33 points. They need no calls when they committed PI, and they needed to get PIs when Buffalo defended the receiver the same way. I'm not going to tell you that I told you already that the most egregious call was a no call on Cooks in the end zone. You're never going to convince me that last play wasn't pass interference. There's nothing you can do to tell me. And if you've got a clip of that, send it to me in a private chat on Facebook, and I'll put it up. and you'll see he's tackling the guy. When referees force a team's defense to defend differently, it's all because of the refs. Fair enough. We'll just agree to disagree, AC, because, again, I am not ever going to blame referees. Now, hold on. Let me go back. With all that said, again, I've said refereeing is bad. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. And it's a reason that teams lose games. But you can't blame that for losses when you don't capitalize and execute yourself. I'm sorry. You can't, the defense of saying, well, the Bills didn't execute, but Denver didn't deserve to win either because they didn't execute, doesn't hold water with me. The Bills played recklessly. It was an exciting game, but it was an ugly, badly played football game on a lot of levels, including the referees. Now, the league should. This is a league making what? I don't know, $20 billion a year? I think we can have referees and pay them enough, full-time referees, and pay them enough that they quit their full-time jobs. And this is all they do. All they do. Seahawks, yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if it came down to, the ball on the 2-yard line at the end of the game? Bo knows what I'm talking about. Billionaire owners paying millionaire salaries. No sympathy here. It's and it's with This is the baseball chat, and it's the corporations and the sponsorships money. It's also the money from the ballparks too. I mean, where's that money go? Go somewhere. I mean, you're not wrong, Danny, but I'm paying $20 for a beer for a reason. But again, I have the option not to go. I don't go to nearly as many ball games as I used to because I will not pay the money. That's my choice. If enough people did that, then salaries might come down. If people turn the games off of TV, then TV money, which pays the bulk of the salaries, by the way. And by the way, those teams that won't spend any money share in that revenue. Yeah, I have a big problem with revenue sharing. I really do. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets get huge luxury tax penalties that have to be paid out to the Pirates and the Royals and the Rockies. What are they doing to get better? Pocketing millions, tens of millions of dollars, these teams put in their pocket. If you don't have the money to compete, then you should not be allowed to own a team. End of story. Plenty of people with money. Vrabel would be wise to win today and get out of Denver on Tuesday and practice there all week with the altitude. I agree. This is not a place you go and show up on Friday to play Sunday. Get out there and spend the week. I agree 100%, Scott. Great call. I didn't think you were scripting. So you do think then that you think Broncos or the Texans are better for ratings and for marketability than the Patriots? I'm surprised to hear that from you, Scott. Really am. Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl for Tampa Bay. He wasn't a backup, though. He played all year, to be fair. And had a pretty good season that year and had a pretty good Super Bowl, as I remember. But again, these are quarterbacks that are not first-round picks. We've also had that discussion, right? Tiger time. Tiger turned 50 He's turning his attention to helping the youth of today with studies of the arts, science, technologies, and more. Well, kudos to you, Tiger. He's just a wonderful human being, Tiger Woods. I'm glad he's finally straightened out his life. So I guess he won't be driving his car 180 miles an hour anymore, or backing his truck into the ditch outside his driveway, or any number of other things. I'm just glad Buffalo is out of the way. Anytime that the Yanks, Bills, or any other team is out of contention is okay with me. Well, you're just a hater, Paul. Now, me, again, being a Patriot fan, not a New York fan. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not a homer in that way. There's only one team that plays here in New York, and that's Buffalo, by the way. I would rather have seen Buffalo win because I get a home game against what would have been an inferior team in my mind. I'm pretty sure Denver's better because of the defense. I think the quarterbacks are fairly equal. The running game for Buffalo is obviously better. But I'd much rather play that game in Foxborough than in Mile High, where it's been a house of horrors over the years. And I'm going back to the 80s. I go back to the year after they went to the Super Bowl in 86. They played a divisional round game out in Denver and led most of the game and folded in the fourth quarter because they weren't prepared for the altitude. They were gassed. Again, not an excuse. They didn't prepare correctly, which is why Scott's right. Get out there on Tuesday after they win today. But that's fine. We're happy to see Buffalo out. AC, the Cook's no call is why I'm so mad about Denver getting calls. I see. Fire. That's fair. Just because Buffalo didn't finish doesn't mean Denver did. Again, they're ahead on the scoreboard, and it's not just because of the referees. I don't know about getting blown out. How do you figure they get blown out? First of all, 3 of the calls we talked about are in overtime. So if they got the touchdown, they would have probably won the game by whatever. A touchdown. I don't know what the score was at the time. And maybe Buffalo scored on that. I don't even remember if Buffalo scored on that drive or not, so it'd be irrelevant. But I don't think it's not a blowout regardless. Woody Mark's rushing yards prop is 54.5. There's no way he gets 50 yards rushing with Milton Williams there. I agree. Milton Williams has made a huge difference getting back healthy. He missed what? I think a month, if I'm right. Scott came back 3 weeks ago. Has played. And this defense has been pretty good for the most part. They had a blip against Buffalo in the second half. But they've been pretty good most of the year. And got much better with Milton Williams healthy. Stuff in the run, and also just taking up space and creating lanes for guys to rush the passer. And I'm interested to see if Vrabel headbutts him again or face butts him. Gets his lips split open at the end of this game. That was perfect last week. That was absolutely perfect. Vrabel coming off that field bloodied last Sunday night. If that defender looks towards the ball while grabbing the receiver, he would not have been called for interference. That's probably true. And Paul's got a great point, and I failed to mention that actually this morning on the Big Football Show or today. I mean, if he turns his head, he'll get away with all of that if he turns his head. You got to make it look like you're making an attempt to play the ball if you're going to make that type of contact. Wish somebody could send me the clip because I can't find it. I could find it. But I can't find it quickly enough. So in any event, Let me just, in case somebody were to try to send it to me. Somebody got it? Is this it? Did Danny send it to me? Oh, no, that's me. Thought I might have seen it. All right. But I think you're right. From the pride of Alcorn State, happy birthday. Is this you moving around on me, Chris? This has got to be you. Happy birthday to the man with the golden legs. Power forward, Larry Smith. I remember Larry Smith. Where'd Larry play? Larry played with the Warriors. Probably played with a bunch of teams. But do I remember Larry Smith with the Warriors? I think I do. Good luck. Thanks again, Bo, for popping in, and catch Bo's stuff on McGrath the McGrath Podcast Network. You can see the logo up here. Paul, is that what the Broncos defender did on the hook no call in the fourth quarter? Just that? No, he didn't. The officiating is very inconsistent and terrible. I'm not arguing that fact even a little bit. My only point is, if you're blaming referees, then you're just hunting for excuses to cover up your own mediocrity. Because, again, you can't just look at certain plays. You can't just look at plays in a vacuum and just eliminate all the rest of the game and say, if this didn't happen. Again, let's assume for a second at the end of the half, and I didn't get a chance to get this out on the Big Football Show. James had made a comment that or maybe it was Brian, to be fair, that if the Bills hadn't been aggressive at the end of the first half and Josh got reckless with the ball and gave them an extra 3 points to Denver, then we never get to overtime. We don't know that. The game's not going to play out 100% the same way that it did. Even though the butterfly effect is a real thing. One change affects everything that happens after it. So, again, if they don't turn the ball over, then they don't play. The plays don't unfold. Not every play unfolds exactly the same way it did the second half and into overtime. I don't know what would have happened. Nobody knows what would have happened. So anyway, but Danny, you're right. The officiating's inconsistent and terrible. Not an excuse for losing when it goes both ways. You can pick and choose. It's easy to pick and choose and say, we lost because of this right here. You lost because you turned the ball over 5 times. And the Bills played a perfectly clean game and executed and got that touchdown with 4 minutes left and gone up 2 scores, and somehow the Broncos came back and won because of egregious calls, I might be able to say, well, sometimes I'm wrong and my theory's not right. But you're never going to get me to say, yes, they lost because of that when they turned the ball over 5 freaking times. One and 9 for Stafford in Chicago in his career. Interesting. Where's the cold weather stat, Scott? It's even worse than that, isn't it? Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. Stafford record in cold weather. This must have been searched for a million times. All right. Well, actually, it says, according to this is below freezing. Okay, so Matthew Stafford has mixed results. 32 degrees or below. He's 3-3, throwing 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But he struggles more with both cold and inclement conditions, rain or snow, which I don't know is predicted for Chicago tonight. I don't think it is. Where he's reportedly 1 and 9. This is reportedly again. So his record under 40 degrees, 7 and 11. Cold and inclement, 1-9. Overall outdoors, 36-43. Overall outdoors. Something to that, I think. Oh, sorry about that, Chris. Former Winnipeg native Rick Ripien was remembered before last night's fantastic Jets game versus the Leafs. We haven't talked much NHL so far this year, have we? How the Jets doing? We'll start talking a little bit of NHL. We got to probably get our boy back on. Where was I looking for? Winnipeg not doing well this year. 19-22. They had a great year last year. Colorado still rolling at 33-5. Much to talk about there later on down the road. Rams at Seahawks next week, just saying. I'm changing from the Rams to the Seahawks, though. Seattle has a momentum. Momentum's a real thing. Jack knows there's a real thing called momentum. He just and again, you hear it, right, Danny? I'm not. I think I saw a comment that gave me affirmation on this next statement on the previous show, and I've told Jack on the show. I say to him, and I said it this morning, Jack, you describe momentum every way possible, except using the word momentum. Every show, whether it's and. He's more inclined to say there's the word momentum in an individual game, but momentum does carry over game to game. For sure. Hello, Michael Gott. The UK's heard from this morning. How are you over there on the other side of the pond today? Hopefully you're going to get the Patriots today on Skylab or whatever the hell that network is you watch. Good to have you with us. Always good to hear from Josh over in the UK. Josh, I think I asked you this before, or Josh. Michael. What did I call you, Josh? Michael Gott. Michael's another guy who goes by aliases and contacts me, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Anyway, Michael, I think I asked you this question before. Did you find our show, my shows, through my relationship with Dan Harris? If you remember Dan Harris from Let's Talk Sports, Dan founded Let's Talk Sports. He asked me to come on for an interview one time. And Dan was disabled and never came on camera, but he was really, really good at what he did. Did a great job putting together Let's Talk Sports Network, all while, struggling with his own health, taking care of his own family who were in very similar situations. And I pray to God they're all okay. I don't know what happened after Dan passed. I know he had siblings that he was also helping, I think, finance their care. And my thoughts and prayers are still with his family, and I hope they're okay and have been able to carry on after Dan's unfortunate passing here now, 2 years ago now. Good man. So I don't know if you found us through Dan, my relationship with Dan, or just happened to find us outside of that. I may have asked you in the past. My 65-year-old brain has forgotten. Is Josh Allen a Dan Marino MK2 superstar player, but always seems to, if I may say, chokes in the playoffs and big games? I don't think that's a fair. I think it's a fair comparison. I don't think the choke word is really applicable to either one of them. I mean, Dan Marino had some bad playoff games, but Don Shula never gave him the defenses. He didn't have a great run game. Dan Marino carried that team probably more than Josh Allen has to carry this Bills team. Josh Allen, before yesterday's game, had never turned the ball over in the playoffs ever. Not once. So you can't really say, in my mind, that Josh Allen choked these games away. He played badly yesterday. There's a fine line between aggressive and reckless, and he was a bit reckless yesterday. And I think his own success with aggressiveness is sometimes his worst enemy. because these types of things happen because he thinks he can pull pretty much anything out of the hat. And that looks great when it works well, but it doesn't look so good when it doesn't. But I do think the choke word is not applicable here. I don't like the word anyway. I have used it in certain instances, but I tend to stay away from it mostly. I'm sure you guys somebody's going to find one to call me out on, but I don't feel like they choked this game away. I don't think Dan Marino necessarily choked away a lot of playoff games. I think Dan Marino, up until Josh Allen, is the best quarterback never to win a Super Bowl. And I think Josh Allen is damn close to that level. Houston offensive isn't great, but the defense will get them extra possessions with 3 and outs and maybe turnovers. Pats still win 30-27. That's a pretty high number, AC. I think the Patriots win this. I think it's going to be similar to last week. Don't turn the ball over. The Patriots can't turn the ball over. I see a similar score to last week. 16-3 was a score against the Chargers. I could see 16-6, 16-10. I could even see 20-13. I think the Patriots win by 6-7 points. I think it's a very close to the vest game. Patriots really need to run the football to slow down that pass rush of the Texans. They've run the football pretty well since Ramondre Stevenson got back from injury, and they've had the two-headed monster back there, Henderson and Stevenson. Texans stopped the run pretty well, though, too. And I think the key to this game is going to be, again, run the football. This isn't rocket science. And by the way, don't forget, we keep talking about the Houston defense. Did you see the defense that New England put up against the Chargers last week? Every bit as good as the Texans last week. Take away the touchdowns. 2 defensive touchdowns. Don't forget how that 30 points that Houston scored last week. And C.J. Stroud was terrible last week. C.J. Stroud doesn't play well on the road in the playoffs. I do expect a close game. On the same subject, Michael, again, is Kyle Shanahan and Marty Schottenheimer. I'm not sure what MK2 is. I'm going to say 2.0. Great coach, but always, I dare say, chokes in the big games. Again, I'm not a big fan of the word chokes. Marty Schottenheimer, again, you got to be a pretty good coach to win, 10, 12, 14 games every single year. And that's what Marty Schottenheimer did. And that's basically what Kyle Shanahan's done. Shanahan's got a step ahead of Schottenheimer as he's gotten to a Super Bowl at least, and Marty didn't. But if you were on a Marty Schottenheimer team or Marty coached your team, you would be in the hunt every year. And I think you just get snake bit at some point. I don't know. And maybe, and I say this, I've said it about Ohio State, right? And Ryan Day. And if the coach is tight, the team will play tight. But I don't feel like that's the issue with Kyle Shanahan. And I don't think it might have been more of a situation with Marty Schottenheimer as it went on and on and on. It's gone on longer. Went on longer than it did with so far with Shanahan, because Marty coached a long, long time. But again, it's a fair comparison coaching wise. I just don't know if I like the choke word. There's a lot of variables. Can't get over the hump. I get it. There's a lot of guys who never got over the hump. John Elway came up. This came up. And hello, Matt. How are you, buddy? Good to have you with us, Matt. Sorry about your Chargers loss last week. You guys played hard, man. You beat us up. If we lose this week, I'll tell you this much. If the Patriots lose this week, it's going to be partly due to the beating that the Chargers put on that Patriot offensive line and Drake May. I wanted to add something here. I can't remember what it was now. Crap. Something came up. I was going to go refer back to something that came up on the Big Football Show this morning. To do with Shanahan, Schottenheimer, and the word choke. I don't know what it is. I'll come back. If it comes to me, I'll circle back. Fun stat from Chris. I asked myself, did Luis Gonzalez ever strike out 100 times in a season? I caved and looked it up. Once in his rookie season, he struck out 101 times and never again. You know, for Luis Gonzalez to only strike out once 100 times in his career, the way the game was being played from about the time he was coming into the major leagues to now, you know, where guys are striking out 200 times a year. That's pretty impressive, actually, to hit with some decent power numbers. He's a bit of an underrated player, Luis Gonzalez. I think a little bit of the cloud of the steroid era clouds a guy like Luis Gonzalez and makes you wonder if there was some help there as his career hit some really big heights off of, you know, he went from being a good to a great player pretty quick. He was a good player for a long time and became a great player kind of quickly. Malcolm Butler jogs a memory. Yes. For two, you know, one good and one bad with Malcolm Butler, right, Scott? You know, the funny thing is, I'll tell Bo this story, and I'm sure Scott's aware of it. I'll tell it one more time. You all know, but we're talking about Seattle. Bo had brought up the rematch of New England and the Patriots, and I talked about the game ending on the 2-yard line. And we all remember in 2016, was it the 2015 Super Bowl? 13. Boy, time's flying. I'm not good with years anymore. Maybe it was 13. I guess it was 13. Anyway, they get the ball at the end of the game at the 2-yard line inside a minute. And, you know, the beast has been running all over the Patriots on this drive. And the Patriots, I still think that Bill Belichick outcoached Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll and his staff, I think, was shocked and Belichick didn't call timeout, thinking that Seattle would score and save some time. They could have had a minute 20 or so left if they actually called some timeouts. And a minute anyway. Assuming Seattle scored, a minute to go down and score themselves. And they kind of panicked and they called a play that the Patriots had practiced all week. And Malcolm Butler didn't, and Malcolm Butler was in on these plays in practice all week and never once stopped the play, never once stopped that pass that he intercepted in the Super Bowl. Never once. Came through when he needed to. And then a few years later, Malcolm Butler is synonymous with the Super Bowl loss for different reasons. Bill Pulver, how are you, my friend? Thank you, William. Buffalo didn't play well enough and lost. End of story. That can never be enough, though. Yeah, you just didn't play well enough. I got my shirt here. Cat hair. Good to have you with us today, Billy. The YouTube chat is heating up. Come on, all folks. The waters are fine over here. We're going to be pushing YouTube. I'm going to figure this out. I don't know how to do it. I might talk to Bo. Bo's really good at, you know, I got almost 3,000 subscribers on Facebook and 90 or something on YouTube. We'll get, you know, 1,500, 2,000 views on Facebook and 10 on YouTube. But I haven't done anything to boost those numbers on YouTube, and I'm going to figure it out. And Facebook, it's just too hard. You know, they don't let me share the way they used to. I got to fight tooth and nail to get the show to go start live. It's just ticking me off. Plus all the other crap. I'd love to get off social media altogether. I just cannot stand some of the stupidity that I see and hear out there. COVID proved the attendance at snack bars is a very small percentage to the team's revenue. It's fair. They're still charging me that money, though. And I don't care. Again, here's the thing. I don't go out to restaurants. I don't go to ball games and complain about what I pay. I don't go. If I don't want to spend the money, I just don't go. Doesn't stop us from going out to dinner. I don't look and say, oh, I don't want to, their prices are too high or whatever. I mean, these people are in business to make money. Ball teams are in business to make money. So, again, those revenues might be going into the pockets of the owners. I don't really care. They're in business to make money. If I don't want to help them make money, I won't patronize them. It's no different than restaurants or whatever. I'm fine. I'll pay what I have to pay or I don't pay it. I don't bitch about it. If the Pats win it all, not only what kind of kudos does Vrabel get year one in New England, but what kind of kudos does Kraft get for his vision to bring Vrabel back into the family? But the kudos are already high for both, right? There's been, some corners felt that it was unfair to our last coach to fire him after 1 year. And he would still be there. Quite frankly, he'd still be there if Mike Vrabel had not been available. He was the home run hire for the Patriots. It's quite possible, somebody might have fired a coach to get John Harbaugh this year. It didn't. They already had an opening in New York. But if Brian Daboll was still there and they were on the fence, let's say, you might have seen him get fired to get John Harbaugh into New York. And I think it was that way in New England. I mean, Vrabel has changed the entire culture here, or returned the entire culture. Gerard Mayo, you just watch a game and watch the sideline, the head coach and everybody else, and look at the way they comport themselves on the sideline compared to what we saw with Gerard Mayo last year. Gerard Mayo was a really good coach for the Patriots, not a head coach. And he probably wasn't ready. He got thrown into a situation he wasn't ready for. And he'd probably still be there if Vrabel wasn't available or signed somewhere else. Mike Vrabel did great things in Tennessee. People don't give him credit. Before he got there, the 2 years before that, they won like 5 games. They were like 27. The 2 years before he got there. And the first year he was there, he's in the playoffs, and then he's in the AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. So this isn't like something that happened out of the blue. I'm sure Robert Kraft was plotting to get Vrabel back home for a long time. So the kudos are already there, and the kudos are going to be great. I mean, you could make an argument if Vrabel's the coach of the year. The problem is this is a year that is just full of viable coach of the year candidates. There's Vrabel. There's McDonald up in Seattle. There's Kyle Shanahan, who we just talked about, who's done a great job out there with the 49ers through all their adversity. Ben Johnson. Sean Payton. There's probably 9 guys. Sean McVay. Who else? DeMarco Ryans. 0-3 this team was. So there's a ton of guys that are viable candidates for that. But whether he wins it or not, he has not just turned his team around, he's turned the organization around. Vrabel's vision, brilliant. Again, I don't think it's any rocket science what he did here. He saw that the Patriots needed a change in the culture. You know, I really think Gerard Mayo tried to just carry on the Bill Belichick kind of stoic persona, and it didn't work. I don't know that we saw the real Gerard Mayo, but what you get from Mike Vrabel is 100% real. He's tough on players. He holds players accountable, but he also celebrates them and celebrates with them. It's tremendous. Just watch him greet each one of those players coming up the tunnel. Watch him on the sideline when he goes over and talks to his quarterback after good plays and bad plays. He'll be tough on guys when he needs to be, but he's a coach's player. He's a player still. He's a player over there coaching. I can't talk enough about what Mike Vrabel has done for the culture in Foxborough. Still need a no call on Cooks and be given a field goal range, the same amount of pass interference. Okay. I mean, I get your point, AC. I'm not going to agree. Buffalo didn't deserve to win. You could tell me Denver didn't deserve to win. That's fair. One of them's got to get the win. You want to give the credit to the referees? I don't. Fair. That's why it's a great country. I think you'll agree with me. The fact that you and I can disagree civilly, right? And neither one of us has got to get, name calling and everything else. Why we have a great country here. Scott saying the Patriots are the most marketable of the three left in the AFC. I must have misread your whole comment then, Scott. I apologize. Could have said you wanted them out. Oh, maybe you said you wanted them to come out of the AFC. I think you might have left a word out, and I read it as they wanted them out of the playoffs. Fair. I agree. Patriots are the most marketable team out of the AFC. I don't know who they'd want to see come out of the NFC, quite frankly. I mean, you got a rematch with Seattle. You got a rematch with Chicago, really. 40 years in the making. Seattle was much more recent. But the Rams, again, that's L.A. Only way I'll go to a game in Anaheim, cheap. Well, there's a reason, right? Again, you get to sell your product for what it's worth. Just like a player can sell his talents, like Kyle Tucker. Listen, I'm not going to begrudge the guy making, what's he making, $60 million a year? If I can do my math, I'm probably doing it wrong. I'm not begrudging him that. You're worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you. The ticket to go see Anaheim is worth what people are willing to pay. And prices are set as such. And you can refuse to go. If Anaheim raises their prices because they stink, the Jets just raise their prices off a horrible year. If I'm a Jet fan, I might say, I'm not going to go pay that for that product. Right? I mean, you don't pay the same for a Cadillac as you pay for a freaking Volkswagen. Tiger's been through a lot for sure. Oops. What did Tiger do in his wrong? Cheat on his wife. He drank and drive. He drove on drugs. He flipped his car at about 120 miles an hour while under the influence of something. I'm not saying he's any worse than the NBA players, by the way. Yeah. I don't have respect for anybody who cheats on their wife. Right? I don't have respect for anybody that does that. I've never done that. You can't stay true to your, and again, We can talk about anybody you want. We can talk about sports. We can talk about in real life. We can talk about politicians. We can talk whoever you want. You know, I have this argument a lot about our president. I am not a fan of Donald Trump, the person. I think he's a pig, quite frankly. I'm a huge fan of his policies and this administration's policies. Big difference. People will react because of who the person is and not what. It wouldn't matter what the policies were. He could cure cancer and they'd find something wrong with it. But I don't have any respect for him as a person. None. Zero. I have zero for Tiger. I respect his talents as a golfer. I respect NBA players for their talents as golfers. The fact that they want to be baby mamas to, you know, with or baby daddies with 5, 6, 10 different women. I don't have any respect for these guys. I'm not treating Tiger any differently than I would treat anybody who's done the same things Tiger's done. So what did he do wrong? Yeah, he did a lot of things wrong, not just cheat on his wife. Whoever wins today, even playing in Mile High, will be favored with no Bo Nix. Jared Stidham is shaky at best. Listen, shaky probably doesn't describe it. Mile High is still a tough place to play. I agree, Neil, though. And welcome, Neil. Good to have you with us, my friend. Jared Stidham hasn't thrown a pass since 2023. When he played with the Patriots, he played very sparingly and not well. You know, the little bit he played with he played with before. I had his numbers up here. Hold on. I think he played with Oakland. Yeah, the Raiders. He played. Las Vegas Raiders. That's where he had his most extensive playing time, and it was, you know, wasn't great, but he's playing with the Raiders. Other guys have stepped up in these situations and played well. Nick Foles has never played well anywhere except in Philadelphia with the playoffs on the line. It feels like he's never played well, and he's got a statue, as somebody brought up earlier. I don't expect that to happen, but, you know, Denver can't use the fact that Bo Nix is gone as an excuse. You still got to go play the game, and you got to prepare to work around and scheme around the fact that now you're playing with a below average quarterback. So shaky is probably being kind. But they'll still bring some defense. I don't expect anybody to go into Denver and blow that Bronco team out, whether Jared Stidham plays or, well, not. There is no not. He is going to play. But I agree, Neil. I think whoever goes out there will be favored. Denver was up 23-10. They had something to do. They had to do something to get up by 2 touchdowns. I don't disagree. Milton is a great name for a D lineman. Just saying it out loud every time he makes a play. I agree. Milton Williams, you know, he is a big man and he is really good against a run. I think he came from Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. He was a role player there. He's a big part of this defense. Michael said an old 60s sci-fi movie. I love old sci-fi movies. I watched Captured Alien, was asked which team has won the most World Series. Alien answer was Yankees, as if an alien wouldn't know that. How do we get there? Oh, thanks for making me laugh there, Michael. Peyton did out Coach McDermott. I would agree. I think Sean Payton's a great coach. Some people hate on Sean Payton. I don't know why. I mean, he does carry himself, you know, as the smartest guy in the room a little bit, I guess. But I think Sean Payton's just a great coach. This is why I will not totally discount Denver's chances to win next week, Gerard Stidham notwithstanding. McDermott, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm going to blame the coach yesterday. I mean, the only place you can really question coach, and I don't, was at the end of the half, being aggressive. But again, if Josh doesn't try to be Superman, they keep those 3 points off the board. I'm okay, being aggressive and trying to get 3 yourself at the end of the half. Too many teams with 20, 30 seconds just kneel. They were going to get the ball back at the end of the half, so it could have. I mean, I think you can fairly say maybe they shouldn't have done that. I like the aggressiveness myself, but Peyton's a good coach. End of story. Here's the thing you got to remember too, AC, when there are penalties, the offensive scheme often has created those penalties because of they designed a play the defense cannot stop. Now, again, you're going to argue there wasn't a penalty. That's fine. Just forget that for a second. When penalties do get called, it is often because you've created a play that they did not have the ability to stop without being penalized. So you got to give coaches and quarterbacks and whoever, the wide receivers who are executing, credit for creating that penalty in the first place. That's my own little thought. What time we got here? 10:32. I don't have to watch the clock as much. Next week, again, we're probably going to have a short show. I don't know what we're going to do. I certainly don't want to not go on the big football show, and I don't want to not do a Sunday stream of consciousness. So I'm not sure what would. I think we'll probably try to do an hour. I'll probably get myself ready because I got to go to my granddaughter's christening at 11. The christening's at 11, so we got to leave here by 10:30 probably. Maybe a little before. So I got to make sure I'm ready, and off we go. I told my wife I am out of that restaurant where we're having the little brunch afterwards. I'm out of there at 2:40. Gives me just enough time to get home for the start of the AFC Championship game. Danny says he always told his team don't allow a game to be close enough that an official's call makes a difference. Never did one of my teams lose because of an official. All I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Excellent, Danny. Keith, think about that's what's amazing. We're talking about everything that the Bills didn't do and turning the ball over 5 times, and they still lost it overtime. Yeah, it is amazing. I agree. Listen, it was a great game, just not a well-played game. And often that's what leads to great games, right? Mistakes and turnovers. And again, even the turnovers are not just, the Bills didn't just go, here you go. Denver's doing something to create those turnovers. So I'm not going to, you can't just dismiss. They don't just happen in a vacuum, right? Guys don't play bad. Sometimes they do, I guess. Most of the time, guys don't just play bad without any reason, right? There's some reason for it. Defensive pressure, hard hits, whatever it might be. So we have to also acknowledge that when it's a fact. So again, we'll go to 11 today. If the Falcons got the calls Denver got, Brady and the Patriots would never have been able to make that Super Bowl comeback. Well, there were no calls to be made in that game. Again, the Falcons didn't create any plays that could have been called for penalties, first of all, number one. And if Ian had different equipment, she'd be my uncle. So I don't get the point. I really don't. Again, this could be a backhand slap at the Patriots there. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what to make of that. If is the biggest word in the English language, AC. My stepfather taught me that saying when I was a little boy. If your aunt had if your aunt had the same equipment as your uncle, I'm sorry, if your aunt had different equipment, she'd be your uncle. Which I guess takes on a whole new context in today's world, doesn't it? Rams last 10 games in Chicago, 2-8, 109-point differential. I can't see any reason not to bet the Bears. See, how you doing, buddy? Not sure what those middle. What are you showing me here in the middle of those emojis? I don't know. I'm still 30 minutes behind in these comments. Holy moly. See if I can get caught up a little bit. I think you're finding the show just by chance, Keith, here on YouTube. Awesome. Glad. Share it with your friends, Michael, with everybody you know. Share it. And we gotta push the YouTube subscribers because I really want to make if I can, a complete move to YouTube and get off of Facebook, quite frankly, because I'd like to get out of the Facebook world altogether. Yeah, you don't have to apologize. I mean, the word's used a lot. It's not a word I like. I mean, it's a word to describe what happens in some of these big games. 23-17 coin flip on who wins in New England, 31-17. That's interesting. So you got the score, but not the winner in New England, 31-17 Rams in Chicago. I like all the numbers Scott keeps throwing at me. Danny keeps telling me that I'm making the right choice with the Bears, getting points at home. And I like the New England defense. I think the New England defense, let me put it to you this way. The New England offense against the Texans defense put up against the Texans offense against the New England defense, yeah, it's Patriots easy. But that doesn't mean I think they're going to win by more than 6 or 7. I think the score is fair. I don't know if anybody's getting a 23, get a big play here or there. I think it might get played pretty close to the vest like last week, but when I say that, it'll bust open. The Scientists in Coldplay. Parkland Blur. I have no idea what's happening here. The new hype button on YouTube, which is similar to the like button, is a good way to go, Keith. On YouTube, maximizes your views. All right, I'll take a look at it. Again, I have spent so little time trying to maximize my exposure on YouTube. And, I did promise after. And the problem is I don't want to forsake my Facebook people. I hope all of you, if we do make this transition, it's not going to happen overnight. I probably will never be able to get totally away from Facebook. And we have gotten monetized. I mean, I'm making, $15 a month from Facebook. I don't know what they do, but, what the hell? Pays for coffee for 2 days. Please come to Boston in the springtime. Is that Loggins and Messina? Who is that? Oh, gosh. Thank you, Michael. Don't forget, lost amongst it. This is the problem with college football, right? Is we're playing the national championship game tomorrow. Indiana and Miami. My Miami Hurricanes. And it's lost with all this great playoff talk. Also, we can chatter about, we still got 20 minutes left. We haven't talked about Harbaugh. We haven't talked about Stefanski getting, I think, home run hires, by the way, by the Giants and the Falcons. But we got a great, I don't know what college football can do to fix this, but the national championship game is getting lost amongst all this other stuff, coaching hires in the NFL, deep in a playoff run. You're playing on a Monday night between the divisional and divisional round and the championship games. I'm not sure what they got. They need to do something. No, we shouldn't be able to disagree. Anyone who disagrees should be sent to Iran, obviously. Listen, some of those people who do disagree with maybe you and I, AC, should probably take a look at what goes on in other countries and then come back and tell me how freaking bad it is here. Hello, Donna. Good to have you with us. Donna Richardson Gibson found us through the McGrath Podcast Network. Not sure which show, which podcaster you followed that brought you to us. It might have been Brian. I'm not sure. But we're glad you ended up with us. Donna, good to have you with us this morning. Michael says Bo Nix slowly becoming an elite quarterback. I think he is. Listen, I wasn't a big fan of Bo Nix coming into the league, which is probably an understatement. But he's proved, I think he's in his first 2 years, 2 years, right? 3 years. No, came in with Drake May, right? 2 years. His first 2 years in the league have proved to be pretty good. I think he's a little bit more inconsistent maybe than some would like. But again, he's in his second year. Is he in his third year? Why am I doubting myself here? Why am I doubting myself? Bo Nix. I think he's in the second year. Yeah, second year. You know, it takes these guys time to develop. Nix, Caleb Williams. Williams is becoming a great quarterback before our eyes. We're watching these guys mature. I've seen Nix mature. I've seen him make mistakes that young quarterbacks will make. Drake May still makes mistakes that young quarterbacks will make. But I think Nix is progressing on a very good scale. I mean, he's able. I think him and Drake May are very similar in the way they can and what they can bring to a game. And if they, continue on the pace they are, they're going to be. This is going to be a good era for quarterbacks. I think we're seeing a lot of them grow up in front of us. These last couple of seasons: May, Nix, Caleb Williams, Daniels. Even though he got hurt this year, those are four really good quarterbacks out of the same draft. People of different lifestyles, a lot rich and famous like that are going to Diddy's parties. And listen, if I was rich and famous, I wouldn't be going to Jeffy Island or Diddy's parties, but that's just me. As for the rich or famous Tiger, is I don't think he's anything that bad. It is ridiculous to act like a normal person like you has the same idea of a normal relationship as Tiger and his woman. I don't think that you're just excusing away bad behavior. Don't excuse away. No. AC, come on. You're better than that. We're all held to the same standard, in the eyes of whomever you might look up to or down to. And it doesn't matter whether you have money. I mean, certainly I'm not a rich and famous, we are plenty secure in our lives. And I can't imagine anybody acting the way Tiger or any of these other people act. You're not privileged to do anything better than normal people like you and me are. You don't excuse away their behavior because, they have money, they have means, they're rich. We can't expect them to have the same idea of a normal relationship as we do. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I actually can. I've had friends over the years that aren't rich and famous and behave the same way this guy does. They're my friends, but I don't respect them the way I do some other friends. CA's all over the songs. I may not be right. Brownie Bear, how are you, my friend? Brad Johnson, Jim McMahon, Trent Dilfer all won Super Bowls with great defenses. That's fair. I would say all of them are better than Jared Stidham. Maybe not Trent Dilfer. And they might all be better than C.J. Stroud, quite frankly. Peyton is a great coach. Disappointed Jerry Jones didn't consider him twice in Dallas. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to get that job at one point too, Neil. And for whatever reason, I don't remember this level of vitriol against Sean Payton when he was in New Orleans. But since he's come back, it feels like there's a lot of haters on Sean Payton. And quite frankly, I don't understand it. He's a great coach. I mean, maybe it's a case of if he's coaching your team, you love him. And if he's not, you hate him. I don't really know. Why do we keep calling him Trigger? If Trigger's ex-wife didn't want to live Tiger's lifestyle, she could have never took his money and got involved. Oh, my God. More excuses for Tiger? Why are we excusing this behavior, AC? I'm shocked. And he had to drive on drugs because she was hitting him. Not the last time. There was nobody hitting him when he was driving 120 miles an hour down a dangerous highway, and he drove off a cliff. Yeah, he was doing more than speeding, by the way. I can't believe that you're excusing this guy's behavior away because of who he is. And it's his wife's fault because, So women shouldn't expect to marry rich guys and be treated the same way if they married somebody of more modest means. I mean, you probably ought to go back and read this and really, I cannot believe you really believe that, AC. I don't know if you're married or not. But listen, I don't understand. I'm having a lot of trouble following that. I've got an easier time believing, the NFL cares about who wins football games and fixes games than I would believe that we should excuse away people who have means, that we shouldn't expect them to act like normal people. Odd. Love my Jazz, even though they're not too good. You're a Utah Jazz fan? They should never have fired Quinn Snyder. Great coach. And that's when they were rolling. They busted that team up. There's Rick back. Been quiet today, Rick. As an official, Danny, a good job standing up for your brotherhood. Agreed, 100%. If the Queen had bad balls, they're same thing. Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying. Crazy. That old line kind of takes on new meaning today. Pats were able to harass Herbert. They beat the snot out of him is what they did. Given them time off may have hurt. Glad Roman is gone. Horrible play calling. Greg Roman has had more lives in this league than how many jobs has he had? And he gets fired everywhere he goes, but he still seems to get hired. So I don't disagree. And there was a talk to one of the offensive linemen supposedly after the game came off the field was talking to one of the Patriot linebackers whose name's escaping me at the moment, and said to him, we had no clue what you guys were doing on defense. No clue. Which is a damning statement to make about your coaching staff. Hello, James. How are you, my friend? We saw James earlier on the Big Football Show. Obviously, we love working with James on that panel and the Professional Sports Show on Wednesday nights. James does some other great stuff, too. Check him out right here on the McGrath Podcast Network. Good having James with us all the time. Hoosiers 2 playing out tomorrow night. No Norman Dale, though. No. Miami's got a pack. I talked about this the other day, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow morning with Jack on Jack and Keith's weekend playbook. Miami's as talented, I truly believe. Miami's as talented as all these teams. I've said this now for weeks, months. Talented as all these teams in the country. Talented as Indiana. But they don't always bring that talent to the field. They play down to the caliber of opponent. Well, they can't do that this week. There's no down to the caliber opponent again this week. And they haven't played down to caliber opponent against A&M, against Ohio State, against Ole Miss. But that said, they can't make the mistakes they made last week against Ole Miss. They can't get penalized 7 times for over 100 yards. They've got to keep the same formula, though. They need to run the football and keep Mendoza and that offense off the field. And when he's on the field, you've got to find a way to pressure him, but keep him in the pocket because he can hurt you with his feet. So run the football, don't turn the ball over, and don't get penalized. They can keep this game close and they can win this game. And probably, I mean, shocking the world is not, I think, that much hyperbole here. And that's shocking to say, considering we're playing the Indiana Hoosiers, who have no history of greatness in college football until the last 2 years, where they've lost 2 games. And this year, they haven't been close to losing a game. Ohio State game, a tough game. 13-10, I think, was the final there, right? And I really thought Indiana gave Miami a good blueprint for beating Ohio State. And I told you then, it's not rocket science what needs to happen tomorrow night. Carson Beck needs to play mistake-free football. They can't be penalized with stupid drive-stopping penalties or drive-continuing penalties on defense. And you got to run the football. And they've shown they can run the football. Fletcher's been tremendous. Brown is back at getting into that rotation a little bit as well and playing well. I think I watched Dave Harris a few times, then somehow found your show. Oh, good. So that came through Dan. Dan, thumbs up. We still miss Dan. Again, it's been, I think, 2+ years now since Dan passed, and we miss him. He was a good guy, an exceptional human being, I have to tell you. Exceptional. I could go on and on about some of the things I know that he did for people, including people here and have been part of this show, helped getting them started podcasting, and did a good job getting Let's Talk Sports up and running. So great job. And we miss Dan a lot. Dry January mocktails for CA. I have not been drinking much. I've lost like 30 pounds since I retired. And I've limited my drinking to like Sundays out for football. And now this will be the second Sunday in a row I haven't gone out for football too. So no drinks really at all. And I feel a lot better. I don't know what I'm going to do. I like my beer. I like my old fashions, and I'm not sure I'm going to go back. We'll see. People throw elite around like a rock star, like the rock star commercials. Well, again, some people are elite. You're going to have just one elite performance, right? I mean, doesn't make you an elite quarterback. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure the context, Rick. So, seriously, though, pray for the people of Iran. The people they're in a lot of danger, but they are winning right now. Call it prayer or just positive energy, but putting it out into the universe will help them. I put that out there for all people oppressed. But that's a good sentiment, AC. As an SEC fan, Bo Nix was horrendous at Auburn. I remember he was really bad at Auburn. He got to Oregon, was a dink and dunker, and played in an offense that protected him. That's why I didn't like him coming into the league, quite frankly. And I thought he was overrated as well. But he's made a believer out of James as well. He did play a great game yesterday. He's progressed greatly, and I think that also is a testament to Sean Payton. Again, a lot of haters for Sean Payton. I don't know why. Hello, Linda. Always good to have you with us. We're speaking of the McGrath Podcast Network. Linda, the wife of our late great friend, Mac McGrath. We hope you're doing well out there, I think, in Minnesota now, if I remember. Great to have you with us, Linda. And always good to say hi to you. And I hope you're doing well and holding up. And by the way, I know that you're still a Giants fan, as your wonderful husband was. And I'm sure that you think your team, hopefully you understand, or believe, I should say, that your team has hit a home run in hiring John Harbaugh. I can tell you that right now. No, you don't get to tell people what a sexual relationship amongst adults should be. You're starting to sound like somebody from the other side of the aisle, by the way. I'm saying when you enter into the sacrament of marriage, you act a certain way because you've made a promise before your friends, family, and whatever God you worship to do so. So, yeah, I can say that. What they decide to do is fine. I'm telling you, in my world, that's not acceptable. That's okay. And that's fair. You can have that comment about long-term relationships is insane and goes against all human instincts as a man. That's fine. Then don't enter into, the sacraments of marriage. Don't do that. That's fine. I don't care. I really don't. But if you go before, again, your family, your friends, and whatever God you want to worship, and promise to be faithful to that person, I can hold you to whatever I want. Oh, God, this is too much talk about relationships. This isn't a Dr. Laura show. If you actually want to know what a normal relationship looks like without the influences and luxuries that we're given today, just no, we're not. What does this have to do with anything that we're talking about, AC? I have zero clue what any of that has to do with anything. As far as two consenting adults entering into a monogamous relationship and promising to be faithful to one another. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Don't talk to me about the freaking animal kingdom and I could never live in the wild. First of all, I never would. I wouldn't survive. I'd be the first to admit it. Neither would you. Neither would any of us. We don't live that way, though, because we have evolved from that. And you're entitled to. It's funny that some of your opinion makes me think, you might have stepped on the other side of the aisle a little bit, but whatever. Hello, Robert. Good to have you with us. Thank you for saving me. AC, please. I don't know why we're having this conversation about relationship. All I said is I think Tiger and other people are pigs who can't control their urges. Sorry. I know you're a Pats fan. Does it bother you that folks think the Pats are pretenders? Sure it does. And now you're getting Nicholas Houston and Nicholas Denver. No chance for the Pats to prove themselves. You can only play the people in front of you, Robert. So, no, it bothers me to some extent, but I tune it out because I don't care. Regardless. Right? I mean, I can't change the fact that Nico Collins isn't playing today. I'm pretty sure Nico Collins would not make a difference in this game because Gonzalez is healthy and playing would shut him down anyway. And Nico Collins played a lot of last week's game, and C.J. Stroud was terrible while he was in the game. And Nico Collins has been there for other games that C.J. Stroud has struggled on the road against. So I can only play the guys that are there. And I will say this. I'd want to beat teams at full strength, quite frankly. I don't root for guys to get hurt to give me a better chance to win. Am I happy Bo Nix isn't playing? No, I'm not. I don't care. You want to put an asterisk next to our Super Bowl championship at the end of the year? You go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to really put a lot of credence into people who knock it. Because if you want, I'll go back and look at every single Super Bowl champion, and I guarantee you I will find other teams that have similar paths to a championship. You can only play the teams that put in front of you. Pretty sure San Diego had a pretty good regular season. Pretty sure Buffalo had a pretty good regular season. Pretty sure Carolina was a lot better than we thought. Clean their clocks. Again, you want me to go on? You beat the teams you have to beat. They didn't just slip by Miami and slip by the Jets and slip by these bad teams. They dismantled most of them that they played. So, again, let's go back and look at Miami's undefeated season and see how many great teams they played during that season. The fact is, they're undefeated. Linda agrees wholeheartedly that they hit a home run in the Meadowlands. It is a little tough, probably. I don't really care. You know what else, AC? I don't care what they promise one another. I don't care. I can have my opinion of people. Again, I see you post a lot of stuff, dude, that you don't have any idea what's going on inside somebody's head. So none of us do. Right? I don't know how we got on this topic, but let's get off it, please. Jeez. I'm going to end the show on that. Please, somebody give me something else. AC, give me something else. Don't end the show on that. I love you, brother. I'm a little... I don't know how we even got here. Do I think... But no, I don't. McDermott's not getting fired. He's been too successful. There's no reason to fire him. Unless you have something better. You don't fire a guy just for the sake of firing him. I want Aaron Boone out in New York, right? But I'm not firing him unless I have a better alternative. I think I had a better alternative before they hired him in Rob Thompson, but again, that didn't happen. You can't fire a guy just for... If McDermott were to leave Buffalo tomorrow, it'd be because he wanted to go. He's not getting fired. You got to go back and look at where they were before he got there. Just watch the Allen post-game interview. Sports are tough and rough. He takes total, and he takes responsibility. One thing I'll always give Josh Allen credit for is he takes responsibility for the stuff that happens, Love that guy. I do some stuff that you don't want to hear about. It usually doesn't involve just the two of them. That's why I know what I do. Well, that's fine. Again, I guess everybody can live their life the way they want to. I really don't judge people. I really don't care. My comments about Tiger are what they are. I mean, don't make them out to be a saint. That's the only reason my comments came up about Tiger, because the opposite side of, if Tiger's doing something good, Tiger hasn't always been the most upstanding citizen in my eyes. It's only my eyes. My opinions are mine and mine alone. I don't expect other people to conform to them. And if I gave you that impression, and maybe I did, I apologize, because that was not my intent. You're entitled to live life any way you want. 8 years, no Super Bowl. I think it's 9 years, actually. I don't know. You think he should be fired? I mean, you go to playoffs and have a chance to win a Super Bowl, get to a Super Bowl every single year with this coach. He got compared to, it's funny, Michael Gott. I know we're a little over. I'm going to take a few more minutes now. You had mentioned comparing Shanahan with Marty Schottenheimer earlier. Sean McDermott might be a better comparison to Marty Schottenheimer than Kyle Shanahan. I don't know. I mean, the guys, unless there's a significant flaw I can find like I can with the current Yankee manager. I'm not firing a guy who's being successful and giving me a chance to win every single year. Every year. I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm trying to think of an example with the Seahawks, right? I mean, winning is the ultimate thing, right? Everybody gets fired eventually if they don't win. Or they leave. And Bill Walsh, by the way, said 10 years should be enough in any job because players stop listening to you. It doesn't feel like a coaching flaw why the Bills have, failed in the playoffs over and over again. Not watching them maybe as closely as I do some other teams like the Patriots. Maybe there's more to it than what I'm putting to it, but I don't know. I just don't think that's a guy I'm going to fire. I was a big fan of Marty Schottenheimer. There were times when Patriots had openings. I was hoping Marty Schottenheimer might be my coach because he'd give me a chance every single year. And I do look at winning as the ultimate. We judge people by what they win. I do it. Being a Patriot fan, a Yankee fan, I'm harder on my coaches and players because I'm spoiled. I get that. It's hard to chase a guy out with that type of record. Go Pats, AC says. Attaboy. And go Bears. We're on the same page. See, you and I are on the same page with most things. So, I don't know what's going on with AC today. Like Tomlin and Harbaugh, I think the relationship ran its course. We're talking about 18 and 19 years there, too, not 8. And I guarantee you, here's the thing. They fired Harbaugh, and Tomlin left on his own. But do you think, really, is there any reason to think the next 18 years in Baltimore will be better than the last 18 years? I don't have any reason to think that. If they win 2 Super Bowls in the next 18 years and miss the playoffs the other 16, is that better or worse than what Harbaugh did? Because he won 1, but was in contention nearly year in and year out. Same with Tomlin. I don't know. It's hard. I never said anything about him being I said I respect his skills on the golf course beyond belief. I can do both things when it comes to athletes and actors and politicians and I guess even people in general, right? I can respect what they do here and disrespect what they do over here. I'm able to compartmentalize things that way. Pete Carroll I was trying to go there. Why did he have to go, though? Robert, I'm only going to go a few more minutes. I'm already 10 minutes over. Explain to me why Pete Carroll had to go. Because you were in contention year every year. You went to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. Why did he have to go when he went? Did they stop listening to him? I'm trying to remember. Was he there 10 years? Bill Walsh said 10 years was enough. So I'm not saying there's no credence to what you're saying. And not every situation is the same. Buffalo doesn't have any great history of winning championships. Should Marv Levy have been fired after 3 Super Bowl losses and not given a chance to lose a 4th or 2 or what? I don't know where you draw that line. The relationship ran its course. Fair. Go Rams. Even the time came for Belichick. Well, Belichick wasn't. Again, that was 20 years, too, not 8. Things were turned. Belichick didn't leave on a high note. Remember, this team was bad when he left. Bills aren't bad, and the window's not closed. You got 2 of the best players in football in that backfield. couple of tweaks, this team will be right back next year. Hello, Carlos. Good to have you with us. I'm feeling a little better. Still dragging a little bit, but we're getting closer. His message didn't sell anymore. He just became a predictable coach. Felt he had a hard time adjusting to the new style of game. Same thing with Belichick. I don't feel McDermott's in that place, though. Do you? Maybe you do. Apparently you do. I don't think he loses his job, though. I just like... I don't put him down for his golf. He's a great golfer. I've never rooted against him because of who he is or what I think of him. You know? And the same thing with Kobe. He's a great basketball player. See, I don't judge. I can judge them two different places, and I do that with a lot of people. Sorry. I mean, I respect Kobe. I respect Tiger. Do I want to go out and have a beer with either one of them? No, I don't. Just don't. So, in any event, guys, we're going to call it a quits there. I appreciate everybody for joining me today. We'll catch you tomorrow on Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. Go Patriots today. Let's go. Then you tomorrow. We'll talk more about that tomorrow morning. You guys have a great Sunday. Hope your bets are true. And, again, go Patriots and Bears. See you later. Bye.